Hello, everyone. It's Cam from Arsenal Theory Podcast. Been away for a couple of weeks, so thanks for tuning in. And we're going to be previewing the Chelsea-Arsenal game Saturday late afternoon, early evening. I think it's 5:30 kickoff. And before we get into that, I just want to talk about the international break and really just how boring the whole thing is. International football just sucks. It's terrible. I'm not even excited about it. And just online, it's just all football fans just moaning about when's this going to be over? Why have they interrupted the Premier League break? I mean, there's been 8 games in the league, and I think that was the second international break. And we've got a third one coming up in about a month as well. So they've got more happening. And there was an idea that Arsene Wenger floated about actually kind of just condensing the whole international calendar into 1 month. Just pick a month in the season and basically just do all the games there and then. I think that'd be a lot better because you could kind of build like a narrative around it. You could kind of understand what was going on and maybe get excited about it. But currently, the international break comes and you're just crossing your fingers, hoping that none of your players get injured. That, you know, going all the way over to like Brazil or Ghana or America or wherever it is, and you just want them to come back in one piece. So I think also as well, what doesn't help with the international break, if you're an England fan, is just how uninspiring the England management is at the moment. I was trying to think, you know, we've got some really exciting players, but I just can't get up for it. Unless it's a tournament, I really struggle getting excited watching England. And then I watched the Italy game and it was nice to see Jude Bellingham play because everyone's going on about him. And I don't watch much La Liga, just kind of highlights really. And to be honest, he kind of struck me as like a Thomas Muller type player, but maybe we'll do more in England at the end of the season when the Euros start. Maybe I'll have an England mini channel for that period of time. So I just wanted to get that off my chest. There were a couple of points in the last 2 weeks where I was like, oh, I'm going to do a video on this, do a video on that. But it was just creating stuff for the sake of it. That didn't really feel like there was much to really talk about regarding Arsenal at that point. So I thought, well, don't force it. We've got something to talk about now, which is Chelsea-Arsenal, big rivals clashing this Saturday. So one of the things I wanted to start on was really just a bit of the history between the two teams, in that there's been some incredible games of football between Arsenal and Chelsea over the years. And I think back to one of the earlier ones I can remember is when Kanu got the hat-tricks. I think Chelsea were 2-0 up. And Kanu got the hat-trick. We won 3-2. And I remember being at work. It was a Saturday and surrounded by some Gooners. There may have been some Chelsea fans there. I can't quite remember. And there was a friend of mine, Tony Gavani, rest in peace. And he was in the office and he went to like the toilet. And when he went, Kanu scored. And then he went a second time and then Kanu scored again. And then we sent them out a third time and Kanu got the winner in an incredible way. And it was just so exciting and just an incredible game of football, incredible player, Kanu. I think it was Silvinho, scored an incredible kind of like volley from like 35 yards out. Winterburn done the same thing as well. There was a bit more recently than that. The Robin Van Persie, I think we beat Chelsea, I think it was 4-2 at Stamford Bridge. That's when John Terry slipped and Van Persie went in. That was like we had RVP, Theo Walcott. I remember that game. I remember kind of watching it with my mum and me getting really, really nervous towards the end and her telling me to calm down and relax and it will all be okay. And as mums are always right, she was right, it was all okay. And that was quite a surprising win for me because back then, we really weren't that good, and Chelsea were in a bit of a flow. They'd won a few things at that time, so the tide had kind of turned. There's been quite a few memorable FA Cup games between the two. Some that and even Carling Cup as well. And the Carling Cup, we've not come out on top on them, but in the FA Cup, we've had some good results. With I think Ray Parlour scoring one of the quickest FA Cup goals you'll ever see. In the final, I think that was it Wembley at Cardiff, can't quite remember. But that was a glorious day. More recently, Arteta beating Lampard in the final with Aubameyang, went 1-0 down as well, came back 2-1 up. So that's fantastic. There is a result I haven't talked about, but it'd be remiss of me to avoid it, which is not all good results for Arsenal. I mean, in the league, especially if you go back several years, we started getting hammered by Chelsea. I think Wenger's 1,000th game in charge, and they slapped us 6-1 or something like that. That was terrible. That was, I mean, for Wenger to be his 1,000th game and for that to happen, for the players to let him down. But to be honest with you, I think Wenger let himself down as well, to be fair. He can't really point any fingers at anyone else on that one. But I felt really bad. I felt sick at that. And the worst, I think, is the Champions League semi-final. Or was it the quarterfinal? I think it was the quarterfinal, where we're drawn at Stamford Bridge. Reyes has put it up in the second leg at Highbury. And then I think Lampard equalised, and then Wayne Bridge with like 5 minutes to go gets the winner. I remember watching that in Australia. I was traveling Australia at the time, and it was very early in the morning. It was very, very early in the morning. And I was watching it with my two Gooner friends, another Tony and Wolfie, and it just deflated. Just completely sucked the life out of all of us, and I had to go to work straight after as well. It's devastating. So yeah, terrible stuff. So there's kind of been like evens between the two. We both had really important big victories over each other. In the league over the last couple of years, we've got the better of them. You know, we've really kind of turned it on against them, actually. So it'll be interesting to see if that happens again this weekend. So there are some interesting potential big drama subplots developing in this game. Now, Arsenal and Chelsea have decided to do quite a lot of business with each other over the years. Most of the time, Chelsea have come out on top. I say most of the time, I would say 100% of the time, Chelsea really have kind of got the upper hand of us on that. There's a couple of question marks because there's some deals in play at the moment, like Jorginho and Havertz. You couldn't really, I don't think you could really say, Havertz definitely hasn't been a success yet. And I don't think we can say Jorginho's been an overriding success. I wouldn't say he's been a failure either. It's kind of just a bit mid, really. So there's a couple that the jury's still out on. But the likes of when we did the Gallas Ashley Cole swap, we got stiffed on that one. David Luiz, a lot of Arsenal fans have a lot of time for him, but I just thought it was a bit of a joke, to be honest, with some of his displays. He really had a bad time with the refs as well. The refs really didn't like him. So yeah, and it's not been great so far. But this weekend, obviously, we've got Havertz going back to Stamford Bridge. And you've got Mudryk, who looks to have been coming into a bit of form. I saw some clips of him from the international break. Very, very sharp, very, very quick. Scored a great goal. So I think he set another one up as well. So he's going to be as confident as he's ever been in a Chelsea shirt on Saturday. Because previous to that, he's looked like a fish up a tree. He's just looked dead in the water, and this will only help him, and he'll have a point to prove as well, because obviously Chelsea, Arsenal, we all know the history, both chucking money at the Ukrainian club Shakhtar to buy him. In the end, Arsenal blinked and went and got Trossard instead, thankfully. So I don't regret us missing out on Mudryk, but there is that schadenfreude. It's not the right word, but basically someone could get bit on the arse on Saturday. Chelsea by selling us Havertz, or Mudryk because Arsenal didn't go that extra length to buy him. There's also Caicedo as well, who Arsenal bid for in the January and actually got him to release a statement on his Instagram or whatever saying he wanted to leave, and Brighton stood firm, and then Chelsea eventually did a deal for him in the summer. So yeah, and then you've got Jorginho. So there's quite a few interesting kind of subplots, drama shows that could really cause a lot of embarrassment for one side of the fan base. Hopefully for the Chelsea side and not for us. Like I said, Arsenal's fortunes against Chelsea started turning around about 2-3 seasons ago when we were on a terrible run, And then Smith Rowe, my favourite player, got brought back into the team at Stamford Bridge and put on a masterclass. And we won the game, and it propelled us to put on a top 4 challenge. We didn't get it. I think we finished 5th, but it actually saved Mikel Arteta's job. So, Mikel's history with Arsenal is kind of intertwined with Chelsea as well. And the fact he's still in the job is tied to that result against Chelsea. Because if we'd got smashed, it wouldn't have been much longer, I don't think, till he would have been, they would have got rid of him. So, yeah, some interesting points coming up. So, in terms of the game and the fans, I've been watching some stuff online and just reading Chelsea fans, watching some videos. And Chelsea fans are confident. They seem very, very confident for this game. I can kind of get it. Because they were so shit for so long. And then they've got some good results. I think they beat Burnley and they beat Brighton in the Carling Cup, and I think they might have beaten Sheffield United. So they've won games that they should have won, but they won them, and they weren't winning anything before that. And they scored a few goals as well, and they were struggling to score goals. So their tails are up, and I think they feel they could do something against Arsenal. Now, maybe they're hoping that Arsenal are going to be in a bit of a come down after beating City, which to me doesn't really add up. We've both had players away on international duties, so the fitness and tiredness side of things, I don't really see that playing much of a role in what's going to happen. I think the start of the game will have a big effect on things. Any confidence that Chelsea players have, I think if Arsenal are able to just take control of the match quite quickly early on, that will drain the Chelsea players, and that will filter through to the Stamford Bridge crowd. And then I think we'll see Arsenal on top, and it's just then a case of whether we can take our chances or not. What I would say is, as an Arsenal fan, I'm pretty negative. I'm never that particularly confident because I've seen us just screw it up so much over the years. Even though we've got a good result against Chelsea, good record, I kind of look at it and go, well, it's going to be eventually one day they're going to turn that record round, and it's probably due about now. A bit like Arsenal with City, really. Like, we were only going to lose to them so many times before we were going to be able to turn it round. And maybe that will happen for Chelsea. For them to do that, though, they're going to have a lot go for them. So one of the things would be Saka out. Now, I just kind of assumed he was going to be back for this game. But then I saw a lot of Arsenal fans talking about, who do we play Jesus on the wing and put Eddie up top or whatever? And so, like I said, I was surprised to hear that because I just kind of figured he'd be back for the game. So obviously the squads haven't been announced yet, but there was, I did read just before I came online to record this, that Saka is expected to be in the squad. So that's good. I imagine Martinelli would be almost ready or probably ready to start a game. He came on as a sub against City, looked electric. He's had a further 2 weeks to train, so he's probably ready to start. So we may actually see Saka, Martinelli and Jesus. Whatever happens, I really think we need to stick Jesus up front because he's caused Chelsea so many problems in the last couple of years since he joined, really. We've played Chelsea a few times. We didn't play them in the friendlies, and they just can't seem to handle him. So I think that I wouldn't want to stick Jesus on the wing, even if it meant maybe sticking Havertz up front. So, Chelsea fans very, very confident. I would like, obviously, I want to see Arsenal win. I think if we beat them, we go like 12 points ahead of them after 9 games, which is incredible, really. It's a huge, huge gap for Chelsea to close up. But I think if we can beat them, it really will just kind of show the dominance that we have over them over the last couple of years, and also in terms of positions in the league as well. It will really lay it home to Chelsea just how far off they are. Whereas if Chelsea get a result, even if Chelsea get a draw, they'll get so much confidence from that. They'll be like, well, what, we were toe-to-toe one of the best teams in the league. And I don't want that to happen. We can't afford to have that happen against this lot because they're very young, they're new together, and confidence for them will just boost them so much. and belief. If we cannot let Chelsea develop any belief in the 90 minutes or any belief that they could carry on to the next games, it really needs to be a very professional job. So I don't expect Arteta to do anything kind of like crazy in the lineup. I think it's going to be pretty standard. The main decision, I think, is whether he goes with Rice and Partey in midfield or he goes with Rice and Havertz. So Partey, Rice, Odegaard, or Partey, Odegaard and Havertz. And I don't know which way he's going to go with that. I think he's probably going to go with Havertz, but we'll have to wait and see on that. I mean, I'd love it if he started Smith Rowe. He's got such a good record against Chelsea, and Nketiah has as well. Actually, at Stamford Bridge, he played really well there last season and the season before that as well. So we've got some good options on the bench. So I'm sure it's going to take a whole squad effort to get the point. So look, I'm planning on doing a reaction video after the game. There'll be more team news coming out closer to it, but I just want to get this video done because it had been a while. I don't want to get rusty on this. So look, if you like the video, please comment, please subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. And up the Arsenal. Thanks very much. Bye-bye.